Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our musical series. You have joined us at the Carnatic Hindustani Music Circle, or KHMC, mini concert series that we began 4 weeks ago. This is our fourth week running. Each Sunday evening, we come to you bringing two artists, one in Carnatic music and the other specializing in Hindustani classical music. My name is Vandana Rao, and I am on the board of the Carnatic Hindustani Music Circle. And on behalf of all the board members, I welcome you to our May 17th, 2020 concert. Just a little bit about the Carnatic Hindustani Music Circle. KHMC began over 20 years ago. It's a local nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to promote, support, and bring to the New England community both genres of Indian classical music, Hindustani classical as well as Carnatic classical, and provide local students, teachers, professionals, musicians in the area an opportunity to perform. Performances are usually in a very small, intimate environment. We have host families from along the New England area that have been gracious to open up their homes to us and provide space for our wonderfully attended classical music concerts that have drawn people from all over the New England states over the last 20 to 25 years. Please do support us. Send us your support by email or donate to us. All of this is a nonprofit. Any proceeds that we get from our concerts all go into supporting our equipment and the organization. I want to take this opportunity to introduce our artists. We have two artists today. We'll be starting first with the Hindustani musical segment, which will be a 30-minute long segment, followed by a Carnatic music segment. In our Hindustani music segment, we have my dear friend and a local artist, Shuchita Rao, who is a well-known Hindustani classical teacher as well as vocalist in the area. Shuchita has learned basics in Hindustani music from several gurus, starting first with her primary gurus, her parents, as well as several other esteemed gurus from India, such as Vidushi Srimati Malini Rajurkar, Srimati Prabhatre, Pandit Ajay Pohankar, Pandit Vinayak Torvi, Pandit Ujjal Banerjee, and more recently, in the last several years, has been a student of the Gundecha brothers, learning the Drupad style of Hindustani classical music. Shuchita holds a master's degree in computer science and will be, in fact, graduating later this month with a master's in ethnomusicology from Boston University. She's a much-loved music educator and a local performer as well, has performed in many venues in the New England area as well as across the country. She teaches Hindustani music at Lundquist Academy of Music in Waltham and through her own music school, which is the Rasa School of Music that is based in Sharon, Massachusetts. She considered herself a lifelong student of music and journalism. And today, I'd like to welcome Shuchita Rao, who will provide a short introduction on her presentation and will be giving us a lecture demonstration over the next 30 minutes. Please enjoy our beginning concert.
Thank you. Thank you to KHMC and welcome to listeners. The topic today is genres in Hindustani classical music. I want to take a moment to remember my teachers who have guided me in understanding a very deep subject, Hindustani classical music. I want to remember my parents and many of my peers who've really helped me gain a better understanding of music. Also my students who, with their questions, lead me to research a little more and learn more about Hindustani music. So when we talk about Hindustani classical music, we are talking about three genres: the Drupad genre, the Khyal genre, and the Tarana genre. Now, there are many other genres in Hindustani music. You have Thumri, you have Dadra, you have Ghazal, you have Geet, you have Chaiti, Kajri, many other genres. but those come under the umbrella of semi-classical music. In classical music, under that umbrella, or actually the art music of India, we have Dhrupad, Khyal, and Tarana, and I will be concentrating on talking about these genres. Now, in describing the genres of Dhrupad, Khyal, and Tarana, what I will do is talk in terms of, the root of the word. Where does it come from? What is the structure? What is the format of a presentation of any of these genres? I will talk about the rhythm cycles that I use, the languages that I use to elaborate those genres, and the melodic constructs such as alap, tan, bol alap, and sargam, that is solfege, akar. These are some of the melodic constructs that we use in describing these genres. I have chosen Rag Yaman today, and I will present very short excerpts of, the sthai, or the first verse of the Drupad, and also of the Khyal and of the Tarana. So with that, let us get started with understanding what Drupad, Khyal, and Tarana are. Now, all of these depend on the framework of Rag. So I assume we understand what Rag is. Rag has an ascending scale, a descending scale, very specific movements of moving within the notes of that framework, some key phrases, and most importantly, it is expected to create an emotion, a rasa, while it is being performed. When it comes to Drupad, let's talk about, the root of the word. Drupad comes from dhruv and pad, a combination of the two words. Dhruv means fixed, and pad means composition. Dhruv pad is now known as Drupad. And the origin was the Vaishnava temples of Mathura and Vrindavan. And from there, slowly in the 15th and 16th centuries, it moved into courts. So the Mughal kingdom, King Akbar was a great patron. And before that, King Man Singh Tomar of Gwalior was a great patron of Drupad. So from the temples, it moved into the courts, and it was a kind of a darbari Drupad, a court Drupad, a Drupad that was rendered in the court. And slowly, it became, it developed the characteristics to become like something like a classical genre or art music genre of Hindustani music. What languages were used? It was mostly Sanskrit and Braj Bhasha, dialect of Hindi language. And Mia Tansen, Beju Bavra, these were King Man Singh Tomar himself. These are landmark names in Drupad because Mia Tansen and Beju Bavra, Gopal Nayak, they wrote and composed many, many Drupads. So now to get to the structure and format, how do we present Drupad? So what kind of melodic constructs do we use in presenting Drupad? So we start with what is called an alap. So the whole philosophy or the purpose of Drupad is Nad Yoga. It is to, through pranayam, through yoga, through the science of breath, and the sound of Om, and words of Om Ananta Hari Narayana Tarana Taran Tvam, syllables of those, we use them to create alap, to create a structure of the rag, and to move through microtones, little microtones through the rag, and to establish the rag. The text comes later. The alap part is done in 3 parts. So the first part is a very slow alap, and there is no pulse. It's like, slow and deliberate moving from the bottom register to the top registers. And we have Vilambit alap, Vilambit meaning slow alap. So as I said, this shlok, Om Ananta Hari Narayana Tarana Taranatvam, the syllables of these are used to elaborate that first part of the alap. The second part is a pulsed alap. So it is in double speed than the first one. And It is called in instrumental terms jod. And the third and the final elaboration of the alap is faster in tempo. It's known as the jhala for instrumentalists. Now, after that comes the composition, and the composition is typically in 4 parts in a Drupad. In the olden days, it was in 4 parts. They were called the sthai, the antra, the sanchari, and the abhog. Concluding section is the abhog. But in the recent years, that has been shortened more to just Thai and Antra and Sanchari perhaps, or sometimes even just Thai and Antra. So the text is limited to those verses, the Sthai, Antra, and perhaps the Sanchari. But in the olden days, in Mia Tansen's time, you had all those 4 verses, Sthai, Antra, Sanchari, and Abhog. The themes were mostly Hindu religious themes about gods and goddesses, but there were also themes on nature, also about music, but predominantly about gods and goddesses in Hinduism. Now, I want to demonstrate to you a little alap and then go into a composition. Now, Drupad compositions are usually in Chautal, which is a 12-beat cycle, or they could be in Sultal, which is a 10-beat cycle. They could be in Tivra, which is a 7-beat cycle. So, and they're sung very slow, unhurried, very majestic, calming the mind and helping the performer as well as the listener to go deeper within themselves and to connect with their inner essence, with the divinity within them. That is the purpose of Drupad. So with that, I will start just to demonstrate a little bit of a sthai part, just the first verse of Drupad, so that you see how slow and unhurried it is. This is in Chautal, it's set to Chautal and the rag is Yaman. This Drupad was composed by Mia Tansen himself. We're talking 16th century here. So Charanana Sukha Chiranjeev, rag Yaman. But before that, I will sing a little bit of Alap. I hope you can hear the Tanpura. Just a brief example of the slow alap. Then we move to the pulsed section, which is called jod. The third section of the alap is even faster. It's called the jhala. So that was a demonstration of the jhala. And now we come to the composition part. Of course, these are more elaborate when they are presented. In fact, the alap part itself can take up to 60% of the presentation. It can be 45 minutes. It can be 50 minutes, 1 hour, that long. I just presented an excerpt so that you get an idea of the pace of the alap. And here comes the composition, Charanana Sukha Chiranjeevi. Charanana Sukha Chiranjeeva Madho Dharana Sukha Rajaka Ro Bansi Adhara Raja 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 Charana Sukha Chiranjeeva. That is an example of a slow Drupad. But sometimes Drupad can be a little faster in tempo. And here is a composition by my guru, Pandit Umakant Gundechaji. Murat man bhaye sundar saloni, tum bin ab kaun rakhat hai mero dhyan, आस लिए मन में इच्छिता फल पावे. मूरत मन भाए मूरत मन भाए सुंदर सलोनी सुंदर सलोनी मूरत मन भाए मूरत मन भाए सुंदर सलोनी. तुम बिना अब कौन तुम बिना अब कौन रखता मेरो ध्यान आस लिए मन में इच्छित फल पाए मूरत मन भाए मूरत मन भाए सुंदर सलोनी सुंदर सलोनी. This was in Sul Tal, a cycle of 10 beats. So here was a description of how Drupad. So Murat Manabhaye Sundara Saloni. Somebody asked me, what is the meaning? So here the poet is saying that this beautiful structure or this beautiful image or this beautiful form of God has appealed to my heart. Manabhaye Sundara Saloni. And there's more in the Antara, but I presented the Sthai and the Antara of the Drupad, which was at a slightly faster pace than maybe the previous Drupad, which was in a slower pace. So from here, I want to move to the Khyal, but before I do that, I also want to say that Dhamar is a form of Drupad, which is on the themes of Krishna and Radha, and it is set to a 14-beat cycle known as Dhamar. Now let's talk about the Khyal. The Khyal it's attributed to the great poet, musician, composer Amir Khusro of the 13th century. Khyal by itself means idea. And again, Khyal is a genre that uses raga for development. Now, how is it different from Drupad? So we start with an alap, just like we start the Drupad, but the themes of a Khyal, they are sometimes on gods and goddesses, sometimes about nature, they're about human emotions. They could also be about very simple things that happen in daily life, such as, let's say, a daughter-in-law getting very scared of the mother-in-law and sister-in-law. So this used to be what used to happen in the olden times. And there is a lot of khyals that are about Sas, Nanad, And how can the bride go out and meet her lover or her husband if the sas and nanad are constantly, stopping her from doing it? So these were some of the themes which you will not find in the Drupad, things of daily life about human emotion that you don't find in Drupad. Khyal, again, the composition itself is called bandish, or it is called cheese. It begins with alap, a slow alap that kind of delineates the rag and shows a little bit of what is this rag framework in which the khyal or the composition will be sung. And after that, they do what is called what is called tan, bol tan, and these are very fast melodic passages. They also do bol alap. They use text of the composition and they string it into phrases in that rag. Bol alap and bol tan. Tan is faster, alap has rests. While it is moving forward, it has rests. Now, the slower khyal is called bada khyal or vilambit khyal. The tempo is very slow. The tals that we use when we sing bada khyal, they are ek tal, 12-beat cycle, or they could be jhumra, or they could be tin tal, 16-beat, or tilwada, 16-beat cycle. The pace is very slow. It's like Drupad, very developed very slowly, and you take your time to build it up and create this beautiful structure of the rag using text of the composition, akar, this sound, akar. And also, what else is used to do? The text, akar, and sargam, solfege. So if I'm singing Yaman, ni re ga ma dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa, solfege, sargam. This could also be used in developing the khyal. Now, 18th, 19th century, mid-18th, 19th, 20th centuries, these were the times when the khyal came into prominence. It was in the court of Muhammad Shah that there was this wonderful composer. His name was Niamat Khan. His pen name was Sadarang, and his nephew, Firoz Khan, pen name Adarang, composed a lot of khyals. So in many ways, the father of the modern khyal is Sadarang and Adarang. They are the creators of the modern khyal. The rhythm cycles used: 7-beat Rupak Tal, 10-beat Chhap Tal, 9-beat Matt Tal, 12-beat Ek Tal, 16-beat Teen Tal, and tempo slow is Bada Khyal. Madhyalay is Madhyalay Khyal, and then Madhyalay is medium tempo, and Drut is fast. Let me give you a demonstration of Vilambit Khyal set to 12 beats. I don't have a lot of time here, so I'm going to not elaborate, but simply present Mera man andhar Mera man. An example of Madhyalay Khyal would be faster in pace. So here we go to a Madhyalay Tal, Madhyalay composition. Neha kaise laga ho murad नेहा कैसे लागा हो मोरा रे ओ नाही के संगवा आली नेहा कैसे लागा हो मोरा रे. And an example of a fast or a drut khyal would be Mori gagarana bharana de re gagarana bharana de re paya padu tor khana kumar Mori gagarana bharana de re gagarana bharana de re gagarana bharana de. Now look at the type of boltan. I'm using the text of the composition to sing very fast passages. Gagarana bharana de re mori gagarina bharana de re mori gagarana bharana de re mori gagarana bharana de bharana de bharana de, and so on. This was Khyal. The themes were more secular. This is about Radha saying, well, Krishna is not letting me fill my pot. I'm going to the river and he's just not letting me fill my pot with water. Those were the days when there were people walking to the pond, the talab, to pick up water and bring back to their house. And Krishna was known for accosting gopis and stopping them, teasing them, and giving them a hard time. So this was Mori Gagarina Bharanade. He doesn't let me fill my pot of water. It's a complaint. From here we move to the Tarana. The Tarana again is attributed to Amir Khusro, the birth of the Tarana. It's attributed to, and it is sung pretty fast. The poetry, no importance at all. They use rhythmic syllables to elaborate a Tarana. And in elaborating a Tarana, they could use sargam, akar, sargam solfege, niragama pama gare gada pama gare sa, or akar, that's akar. And then of course, there's play with rhythm. That is the essence of Tarana. So a Tarana now very quickly in Ek Tal, which is a 12-beat cycle. This is a composition from the Gwalior Gharana style. So let me just Tanum Tariyanare Tatanum Tariyanare Tare Tadani Udatanum Tanadre Tare 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 Tadare Tadare Letele Telana Tum Tare Dan Tum Tanadi Tana Tadare Tare Dani Retanum Tariyanare Tanum Tariyanare. I hope I was able to explain what the Drupad form, the genre Drupad, what the Khyal genre, and what the Tarana genre, what they, how they use the rag and how they use the Tal framework to delineate a rag using text that sometimes in Drupad, Hindu religious themes, in Khyal, more secular themes, Tarana, poetry having no meaning, importance given to rhythmic syllables. And, sometime in the future, I would love to talk about the semi-classical genres of music. I thank you very much for joining me today. And I also thank KHMC for giving me this opportunity to talk about Khyal, Drupad, and Tarana. Thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Shuchita ji, for that wonderful, succinct but amazing overview of Hindustani classical music. There is so much in this genre of music that you were able to, within such a short period of time, introduce viewers to so many aspects of it, from the origins, which is Drupad, how it transitioned over the years to Khyal style and the evolution of Tarana as a completely different yet synchronous way of expressing the rag with so many rhythmic structures that go with it. Through your small clippings, you were able to sort of even take us through the various compositions. And I think what was really interesting is how music and yoga are so intertwined. That's sort of the origins of it. And I think a lot of it is coming back now again with the realization that spirituality comes from both of those. And a way to really succeed in music is also through to getting the yogic side of it really right, from the breathing, from knowing where the sound moves and so on. So thanks for touching upon that and introducing our viewers to that aspect of our music that we don't necessarily always think about. So Shuchita Rao from Massachusetts, right here, a wonderful journey that you've taken us through in Hindustani classical music. So now, viewers, we go on to our next segment, which is our Carnatic music segment. KHMC, which is a Carnatic Hindustani Music Circle, was started on the premise of really giving a common platform for both genres of music to shine, to explore, to really educate. This was the way for this nonprofit to educate people of any of those genres about the other style, to give us all a little insight about how the other genre works, the thinking behind it, the music behind it, the structure, the formulation, and of course the compositions and the various artists who live in the New England area. Our next artist is Bagwat Krishnan, who will be playing the keyboard. Bhagwat is a Carnatic keyboardist and a disciple of late Srimati Lakshmi Seshadri. He has been giving concerts in sabhas, temples, and marriages for over 15 years in India, Dubai, Malaysia, as well as in the United States. He was presented with Young Achiever Award by the Rotary Club of Chennai Samudra. And he's a recipient of the Young Master of Keyboard Award from the Lions Club of Madras and the recipient of a YMIA Award from YMIA Chennai. Today we have, especially for our audiences, recorded this performance a little bit in advance to make sure that our sound gets through to all of you in an uninterrupted and clear format. Bhagwat has recorded this special rendition only for KHMC, exclusively for KHMC, and we'd like to present Bagwat Krishnan on the keyboard. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you all for joining. I hope all of you are staying safe and home during these times. I would like to thank KHMC for this opportunity. Hope you all enjoy this show. So this song was Gajavadana, set in the ragam Sri Ranjani, composed by Papanasam Sivan. So this song was Telisi Rama in the ragam Purna Chandrika, composed by Sri Tyagaraja Talamadi. So this song was Bantu Itikolo in the ragam Hamsanandam, composed by Sri Tyagaraja Talamadi. Thank you all for watching the show. Hope you all enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Bhagwat. That was an incredible rendition, an instrument that's not easy to play classical music on. You did a beautiful job, such melodious compositions, especially the gamakas that you went through were just wonderfully rendered. So thank you again so much. What I noticed in particular was the tonal quality of the keyboard that you chose, very akin to what in Hindustani music we use, a santur. And in fact, the composition that you played in Purna Chandrika was very close to my ear, at least to a Pahari dhun. So I'm sure both Carnatic music enthusiasts as well as Hindustani music enthusiasts would have really enjoyed your performance and the wonderful compositions that you chose to present today on the keyboard. Thank you again to all our viewers for joining us this evening. Come back to exactly this forum next Sunday at the same time, 5 p.m. We really value your support. Donate to KHMC to help us as an organization to bring more such programs to you, both online, virtually, as well as in person once conditions normalize. And also do leave a note on our Facebook page. Tell us what you think about our programs that we bring to you. We would love to hear from you. Again, from the entire KHMC board, thank you all for joining us, and thank you to Shuchita Rao and Bagwat Krishnan for an amazing concert today. It really uplifted our evening, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the evening with your family. Good night.